Here's your host, Bill Laskey.
Welcome into a Friday edition of Sportsphone KNBR with Bill Laskey, and I wish I had better news, but the news continues as the San Francisco Giants, frustrated once again with opportunities in the 8th and 9th inning to tie the game and go ahead, but it just didn't happen tonight. As after a day off, they came out slugging. They scored 6 runs on 6 hits with a home run in the first 3 innings, and it looked like magic was happening. The Giants were swinging the bats. Willie Adames hits his 19th home run. After 3 innings, the Giants had a 6-3 lead. Everything was rolling good for the orange and black. Tampa Bay Rays came right back, scored 3 runs in the top of the 4th inning, and it's tied 6-6. Going into that 8th inning, and a dreaded 8th inning, as the San Francisco Giants once again had bases loaded and nobody out. The 3rd time this year that the Giants had bases loaded and nobody out, and they didn't score. And sure enough, it was that same way in the 8th inning. Frustration came across it. Opportunities were there once again with a 2 hit by pitch and a base hit. And Patrick Bailey lines out to Kim at shortstop. A ground ball by Gilbert goes home. And then what happens is a fielder's choice by Elliot Ramos as he hits a ground ball to third, and the inning was over. Frustration once again. You saw it on the Giants' faces when they went back out there in the 9th inning. Randy Rodriguez, who hasn't pitched in over 9 days, got in there, and what does he do? He hits the first hitter. Hits the first hitter on a bad slider. It cost him. It really did. As the runner was on first, a base hit, fielder's choice, another base hit by Diaz, and the Tampa Bay Rays get that run that the Giants couldn't get in the bottom of the 8th, and they ended up trying in the 9th as Rafael Devers leads off with a double, a real close play at second base, and there was the tying run for the Giants to see if they could go in extra innings, but it failed. Adames hits a ground ball to short, Smith hits a ground ball to second, and Tyler Fitzgerald pops out to second, and the Giants lose their 6th game in a row. And they're all at home once again. They won their first game last Friday. They've lost 6 in a row. They've now lost 14 out of 15 games at Oracle Park. It was a better game today. There was more focus. There was more determination. The pitching, I thought Landon Rube did okay. He threw 50 pitches in his first rehab assignment. Looked like he got a little flat on some sliders and a couple sinkers, and the Tampa Bay hitters took advantage of it. He looked good at times, but he wasn't sharp enough as we've seen in the past. And maybe he pushed himself to try to get back out there. Maybe the Giants wanted to see if he was healthy enough to get him 3, 4, 5 innings. He ended up throwing 66 pitches, 41 for strikes, which was pretty good. 10 first pitch strikes out of 16 hitters. Got 3 ground balls and a fly ball, but it just wasn't that snapper he had. He had 5 strikeouts. 2 by the sinker, 1 by the cutter, 1 by a cross-seam elevated fastball, and then 1 on a curveball to end the inning. But the Tampa Bay Rays, they can hit. They have sluggers. They have on-base percentage. They came in here hitting as a team 251, 11th in all over Major League Baseball out of 30 teams. Their speed is what kills you, and they took advantage of that a couple times today. Coming in, they had 155 stolen bases, 155 first in Major League Baseball, and they've only been caught 40 times. Today, the Giants had a couple stolen bases. They had it going in those first 3 innings. Then what happened after that? They had 7 up, 7 down before Christian Koss got a base hit in the 6th inning. Nothing happened after that. 3 straight outs. Another 1, 2, 3 out in the 7th inning. So the offense was stymied right after that 3rd inning when Patrick Bailey hit the double. They couldn't get anything across in those middle innings. And it really, really is frustrating when you have bases loaded and nobody out and they just couldn't score a run. Something could have happened. Some fly ball, some good contact, and they just couldn't get it out of the infield. And the Tampa Bay Rays steal first game of a 3-game series, 7-6. Tampa Bay now gets their 60th win. They're 60-63. As I said, the Giants have now lost 6 in a row. They are now 59-63. Another game tomorrow, of course, it's a 6:05 start. Justin Verlander on the hill for the San Francisco Giants against Adrian Hauser. Adrian Hauser came over from the Chicago White Sox in a trade for Tampa Bay. He was 6-2 with a 2.1 with Chicago. He has been scuffling here with Tampa Bay. 2 outings. He's gone 5 innings against Seattle, giving up 4 earned runs. He lost that one, and then he threw another one against the L.A. Angels, another 5 2/3 with 5 earned runs. But you can't just say, hey, you're going to be able to hit Adrian Hauser tomorrow. You know, these numbers that we keep talking about, turn the page, oh, we'll get him tomorrow. You can't think that way anymore, Giants fans. This team is battling for a win. This team is trying so hard right now, and you can see it in their faces today. You could see it after that 8th inning going back on the field. They were confused. They just couldn't believe that they couldn't score a run with bases loaded. I think everybody in the park was feeling the same way. Every Giants fan thought the same way. I did too. When you're thinking bases loaded, nobody out, here's an opportunity to open the game up and win the game for you, and they couldn't even score a run. So, you know, frustration continues. This is what happens when you have a losing streak. And this is one thing the Giants are definitely having trouble winning a game at Oracle Park. So tomorrow, let's see if we can turn the page with Justin Verlander, see if they can come back and rebound against this Tampa Bay Ray team. All right, 415-808-KNBR. Phone lines are ringing right now. Let's take a quick break. My name's Bill Laskey. This is Sportsphone KNBR. Coming back with your calls coming up next on the Sports Leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sportsphone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Swing and a pop out into shallow right. Lau goes out, the second baseman, and he's got it. And so the Giants, after all of those runs early in the game, 6 runs in the first 3 innings, and then they never had another hit with a runner in scoring position. The Giants, after Bailey's 2-run double in the third, ended up going 0 for their last 9 with runners in scoring position and never scored again.
All right, back on a Friday edition of Sportsphone KNBR with Bill Laskey, Susan Slusher putting out on X. This is the first time since 1901 that the Giants have lost in a stretch of 14 out of 15 home games in a single season. 1901. Wow, that's a dramatic stat right there. It's just something that the Giants have to get over, get a win here in the next couple of days, see if they can win this series against Tampa Bay and get some kind of momentum going. That clubhouse is that silent. That's the problem. When you have losing streaks, it's not fun in that clubhouse. You try to come back with new energy the next day. You try to come back with a positive feeling of, hey, we're going to win this game. And with that day off yesterday, I really felt that today was going to spark it. And when I saw him score 6 runs in the first 3 innings, I'm like, okay, here we go. This is what we need. This is what the Giants need to get going here with some good offense. And, you know, pushing Landon Roop out there, like I said, he only threw 50 pitches in his first stint with Sacramento. He just didn't have his quality stuff. At times he did. You just can't push him that quick and that fast. He's a gamer. That's probably why he said, I'm fine, let's go for it. And he ended up throwing 66 pitches. Matt Gage came up and almost got out of the inning, gave up a base hit to Simpson. And that was the 2 runs that hurt him in that 4th inning. You know, you start looking at some of the pitchers that threw today. Carson Seymour threw a nice inning in 2/3. Joey Lucchesi, an inning and a third. Jose Budo, all 3 of those guys threw the ball well. And I still think Matt Gage did too. A couple balls got up. But when you're putting this bullpen together now after everything was set before, different people are going to have different spots. And I think that's what they're trying to feel out. But both of Joey Lucchesi and Jose Budo, I think those are going to be your guys in that 7th, 8th inning. And then Randy Rodriguez, and it was just tough. He hasn't pitched in 9 days. They haven't got him in an inning, and he comes in a crucial situation with a game tied, and he ends up hitting the first hitter with a slider on the inside where it was supposed to be breaking into the outside corner. Still threw a couple good fastballs at 98, 99, got out of it with a couple punch-outs, but the damage was done with Yanni Diaz hitting that base hit to right field. Threw a couple balls really good in on his hands, and then the one that leaked over the plate a little bit, about a quarter on the in part of the plate, was enough for him to push it out to right field. He's a strong kid, and the 34-year-old Diaz gets the game-winning base hit for the Tampa Bay Rays. All right, 415-808-KNBR. We'll get on the phone lines. Let's go out to Tiburon and talk to Tiburon Posse. He was at the game today. What's going on, Tiburon?
Hey, Bill, how are you? Hey, Bill, how are you?
I think I'm frustrated like all Giants fans. I really felt they had a good jump on this team, getting 6 runs in the first 3 innings, and then they just kind of got quiet. And the middle innings, they couldn't get anything going.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm at the game with my kid. My son and I are sitting there. There's a lot. Let's be clear. There's a lot of empty seats. A lot of empty seats. So I was able to splurge a little bit, have some decent seats. We're down in a nice area there, trying to watch it. There's like no cheering. I mean, there's like no one's into the game. It's like it's really hard to watch. The pitching, frankly, there was some decent pitching, but it was like watching AAA pitching. I mean, I got to be honest. You know, it was.
And who are you thinking when you say AAA pitching? Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Roop. I'm sorry. I mean, it just was not. He was not sharp.
He wasn't sharp today.
I mean, it's like
he wasn't sharp.
And every time he had a lead, and it would like go back immediately back. Like they just were kept like letting them back in. It was like there's no kill. You know, there's no like they didn't want to go out there and kill these guys. And
well, the problem is,
Devers,
hold
I
on.
mean,
The problem
no one-
is you got to understand he's been hurt for a while. So I think what he was trying to do is gut it out for the team and go out there and try to start. And he just didn't have his A stuff. At times he made good pitches, but in the length of the 3 innings he threw, he did not throw like the Landon Roop we saw in June and July. So he's putting it back together. They need an arm in the rotation, and I think he just said, "Hey, I'm fine. I threw 50 pitches in AAA. Let me run it out against Tampa Bay," and it just didn't come out right.
Yeah, it was not good. I mean, not even to mention the fact of Devers and his strikeouts. I mean, it's really, really painful watching him swing. I mean, yeah, he got that hit.
Yeah, he struck out 4 times
ninth
today.
inning. I mean, it
Yeah, he
was
got a
fine.
nice double.
I mean, his swings are terrible. They're inches away from the ball. I mean, I'm watching like close. He's not even close. I mean, it is not even a decent swing. It's terrible to watch. And it's like,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He is in a funk, no question about that, Tiburon Posse, and I think that really hurt him. You could see the frustration on him more and more of each at bat. And when he punched out 4 times, and he had a couple opportunities in the second inning with a runner on second base, he struck out. Opportunities again, leading off the 7th inning, punches out. Some crucial times that he's not even putting the ball in play, and you're absolutely right. He's punching out way too much.
it's terrible. And you know the other thing I want to say about him, he played first base. And here's a guy who should be trying to make friends. The other team, they have this kid this kid who's like first game of the season, Bob Seymour. This guy was an enormous child. This guy was enormous. He's throwing the ball to the crowd after they warm up the infield. He throws the ball to the crowd. Devers, he's like lobbing the ball back to the dugout or whatever. This guy has no clue how to make friends with our team, with anyone else.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with it, Tiburon Posse. That has nothing to do about it. I think what you're trying to say is he needs to play better baseball, and I think that's what we're looking at Devers for, playing first base and hitting a little better than what we've seen. But you know what? It's just not him. It's about a lot of these guys in this lineup. So we'll see if they bounce back. Let's go to Dennis in San Jose. Dennis, you're on with a Friday Sports Phone with Bill Laskey. What's going on?
Yeah, Bill, I've been a fan since Willie Mays, and I got to tell you, the team we got right now, I love the team we had, but I don't think they're built to play 162 games right now the way they're going. You got Flores striking out on a outside, low outside pitch, and he hasn't really done anything in the last 2 months. Since the first 2 months of the year, he was doing fantastic, then he peters out. Then you got Lee that was batting 340, he's down to about 250 or 245 or something like that. It just don't make sense. I mean, these guys aren't built to play 162 games, and they give away home runs like crazy. We gave away 2 or 3 home runs one day. Jody, I can't even think of him now.
Joey LaCasey? Joey LaCasey, is that who you're trying to talk about?
2 games.
Yeah, I don't think the home run ball is hurting the Giants. I think what it is key hits, runners in scoring position, things like that, Dennis. And these guys are out there giving it the best effort. It's just not working right now. And coming out scoring 6 runs in the first 3 innings was a big boost after a day off when they only had scored 5 runs in 5 games. Today, I just feel that Landon Roop tried to put a lot of things on his shoulders, and I don't think he was 100% ready for it. Of course, his elbow is a big problem. Let's hope his elbow's fine and he gets pushed on a little farther. He is one of these mainstays in the rotation. After that, I thought the bullpen threw pretty well. It's just really, when you look at this game, it comes down to the 8th inning with bases loaded and nobody out, Dennis, and they just couldn't put a run across the plate.
Yeah, and there's something else I tell you. My coach, when I was in high school, he played pro ball with Kansas City Royals. He says this. He used to say, when you score 5-6 runs, you should win the game if you play with a good team. We scored 6 runs, and we couldn't win the game. And it bothers me.
It's all in that front part of the game, Dennis. Like I'm saying, Landon Roop just could not put the fire out. Every inning he went out there, and they just bounced in with a walk or a couple hits, and he just couldn't get the momentum going with a nice 1-2-3 inning. He struggled every inning. First inning he had a 1-2-3 inning. After that he struggled. So, you got to look at the pluses and minuses. Is Landon Roop healthy? Is it possible that he's going to stay in a rotation? He's still 26. This is his really first full year in the rotation. The Giants do need rotation arms right now. So, we'll just see what Landon Roop does as his next start. That'll probably be against San Diego or Milwaukee next week, and see if he can push forward. But I think the Giants today showed some fight. They showed some dog in them by getting 6 runs in the first 3 innings. The middle innings, they couldn't scratch out anything. The bullpen for the Rays really handled it. Ian Seymour, Garrett Clevenger, Griffin Jacks, all those guys put zeros on the board. They got to Ian Seymour a little bit, but at the same time, they just couldn't get mount any kind of attack in those middle innings, and I still circle the 8th inning as the inning was the downfall of the game. But thanks for your call, Dennis. Let's go to Marin and talk to John. John, you're on a Sportsphone KNBR show on Friday night with Bill Laskey. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Bill. I liked your stat from 1901. 14 losses out of 15 games at home. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I read that from Susan Slusher, and that was an amazing. That's way back when, and I remember some days in Candlestick Park we lost some home games, but this is just going on too long, and somehow, some way, the Giants got to snap out of this.
Oh, and what about since the Rafael Devers trade? The Giants are 18-32. And I was thinking, the Brewers are 30 games over 500 without Adames. The Red Sox have a top 4 record in Major League Baseball without Devers. And,
so when you give me stats like that, John, when you give me stats like that, are you telling me because the Giants are losing and Devers and Chapman are here, Devers and Adames are here, that's why they're losing? Because you just kind of gave me 2 different stats and you're trying to bring these guys into it. Like these are guys that are falling. These are the fall guys. Milwaukee didn't want them and Boston didn't want them. The Giants have them, so that's why they're losing? Is that kind of where that mark is that you're trying to say to me?
Exactly. That's perfectly put. I think that's exactly perfectly put. Because the Brewers, they didn't make no effort to sign Adames. The Red Sox wanted to get rid of Devers, and we were like, come here, we'll pay you, we'll want you. And, so essentially, Adames has 19 home runs. Devers has 8 while he's here, 23 for the whole year. Chapman has 16. Lee has 6. So if you add up their salaries, it's essentially $100 million we've paid for 64 home runs. And if you look at Cal Raleigh, he's only making $1 million this year, and he's given them 44 home runs. Next year, he's only going to make $17 million. He's the best hitter in baseball. So we're paying all this money. Do you look at the 9 years?
Let me ask you something. Do you look at the 9 years Rafael Devers has played? Do you look at the 9 years that he played in Boston and look at those numbers on his baseball card? Do you look at his .280 lifetime batting average?
Absolutely.
No,
he does have 9 years.
No, you don't. You don't. Because what you're doing is you're just doing a deep dive on both these guys, which I totally understand. And I totally understand how you're bringing this up because of their numbers this year. But what I'm saying, when you look at over their whole career, they're not hitting like this in their whole career. So when a team is losing, when teams don't hit, when teams are scuffling, scoring runs, we pick apart people. And that's kind of what you're doing today.
True, but I was thinking if you look on the back of Rafael Devers' card, you'll see his age, which makes him almost 30, which makes him old here. He was young in Boston.
He's 28, isn't he?
So
I thought he's 28.
If that's correct,
Yeah.
We don't even know if that's. He could be 32.
Come on, man. Don't be saying that. Come on, you can't just bring that up and say he's not 28 years old, he's 30 or 30. Come on, you're reaching now, John. What do you want to bring up here tonight about both those guys? Are you just upset at how they're playing? Are you upset at how their numbers are coming out? Or are you upset that the Giants obtained big contracts for both these guys?
I'm upset that Bob Melvin is probably going to get fired, and then Buster Posey should get fired, but he's going to stay. So we're going to be in trouble no matter what happens. But
why do you think Melvin's going to get fired? Why do you think that? Because they're losing?
I think that because
they're losing?
Bob's a cool guy. Pat Burrell seems like a nice enough fellow, but they're not hitting gurus. And Buster Posey is a hitting guru, but he's not a teacher. He's not a communicator. So we have problems here. And we have problems because Buster Posey essentially has to have his eyes on about, there's 30 teams in the major league. That's 900 players at the major league level. There's 30 minor league. There's 900 minor league players. Then you got college. Then you got the international draft. There's no way his eyes are bringing in all that knowledge.
You don't think he's got help, though, John? You don't think he's got an army of help up there? You know he does. He's got a bundle of help out there. He's got one of the best scouting departments, and they've did a fantastic job in the draft. I thought they did a great job on the trades. I really do. They picked up some great players from the Mets and the Yankees. I really do. I believe that. I'm not just making that up. I do. I think they made some good moves there. But everybody just wants to put a noose around Posey and Melvin and all the coaches. And I'm trying to say to everybody, why don't we look at what's going on in the field? Guys striking out, left on base, runners in scoring position. These coaches are getting these players prepared. It's the player that's going in the batter's box. Bob Melvin's not telling them to swing in an 0-1 pitch. Bob Melvin's not telling them to try to hit a double. No, the player's got to perform. And I'm going back to what you said about Devers and Adames. That's a good point to discuss. But jumping over to Melvin and Posey, no, that's not what you're discussing. You're discussing on these two top players that are making millions of dollars that aren't producing. And I'm agreeing with you. I'm totally agreeing with you. But when you outline this whole team, it's just not one or two players, Mark or John. And John, it's been like this for a while. So we have to pull the reins back and quit blaming certain people and blame the entire team, because the team needs to come together. I really thought they came out with good spirit today. 3 innings, good spirit, good offense, really hitting the ball well, running the bases well. Then the middle innings, they just couldn't get anything going. And then the end of the game, it came down with bases loaded, nobody out. They didn't score. All of a sudden, Tampa Bay gets a key hit, and Tampa Bay runs away with the win. All right, John, we'll talk as we keep going. I know you call in a lot, and I like talking to you, so we'll find out more as the season continues. We're going to take a quick break on Sportsphone KNBR and come back with more calls on hold. And I'm going to have Steve Kroner coming on later in the show. We'll talk more about this game and more. I'm Bill Laskey. This is Sports Leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sportsphone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Pitch. He hits a high fly ball right center field. Carrying pretty well. Mangum back. Still back, and it is gone! Up over the right center field wall into the Rays bullpen. And that was some big-time power from Adames. Towering fly ball that goes out. His 19th home run of the year. And it's 4-3 Giants.
All right, back on Sportsphone Friday night. Willie Adames did that in the bottom of the third inning, leading off the inning. A 2-2 slider by Joe Boyle. Got it up a little bit, and boy, he mashed it for his 19th home run of the year. And the Giants had a little momentum going right then in the third inning. Dominic Smith gets a little double down the left field line, a couple ground balls. Christian Koss gets a walk, and Patrick Bailey drives them both in with a double. And the Giants were winning right then and there, 6-3. But it didn't go long as the Tampa Bay Rays came back with 3 in the top of the fourth and 1 in the top of the ninth, and they pull out the victory 7-6 at Oracle Park on an Orange Friday. So tomorrow, 6:05, Adrian Hauser, a right-hander for the Rays, goes against Justin Verlander for the Giants. First pitch right here at 6:05. All right, let's go to Foster City and talk to Isaac. Isaac, you're on a Friday night sports phone. How are you tonight?
I'm disappointed, Bill, but I heard your comments about Bo Mel, and I said that he should be fired, but I mean, I'll give him a break on this one. I just think that I don't see the aggressiveness from him. That there's no bunting anymore. I mean, you have bases loaded. Patrick Bailey's one of your best bunters. Tyler Fitzgerald's one of the fastest guys on the team. You've been struggling to get the hits as of late. You know, 7 up, 7 down, like you said. Why not put a sacrifice on there? I mean,
so you would rather have had him try to bunt that guy in, huh? You were at that situation. You had bases loaded and Patrick Bailey up, and Crook and Kite both said Koss and Bailey were both the best bunters the Giants had. Koss tried to bunt. Of course, he pulled it back, got hit in the leg. So you would have liked to have Patrick Bailey try to lay one down there.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it's still, it's one of the oldest adages in baseball. When you put the ball in play, good things happen. I mean, you never know what could happen. The rookie guy debut comes down the first base line, try to throw out Fitzgerald, throws the ball by the catcher, then then off to the races. So, I mean, he did put a good hit on the ball. It just kind of found a glove. I mean, that seems to be, part of the problem as well. Is Giants just can't catch a break, and
it's true. And anytime you're in a losing streak, Isaac, you've watched baseball enough, so have I. You got to get a break. You got to get something going here. And I thought today was a day. You get a day off. You get away from the ballpark, and you just kind of forget about the losing streak. They're like scoring only 5 runs in 5 games. And today, when they came out and scored that first run with 2 outs, I was like, okay, that's a good start. Then they come back and they score 2 more in the second. They score 3 more in the third. Everything was rolling the right way of things that we didn't see. And then it just kind of went to null. They couldn't even get on base. They punch out 3 times in the 4th inning, another 1, 2, 3 in the 5th, 7 up, 7 down. And you're like, holy cow, here we go again. And you're saying, how can this happen? You just had a nice momentum for 3 innings, and now the next 3 innings, absolutely nothing, not even a hard-hit ball. Frustration, no question, but I think you and I are both talking about that 8th inning. You have to somehow score. If you bunt or you hit a line drive like he did, it was caught by Kim, but then right then and there you only had 1 out. So you could have bunted again if Gilbert would have tried to lay a bunt down, but Gilbert, I have no idea what he's doing swinging. He doesn't look like he's got a good swing path now. A young kid that's 1 for 17 comes up in a clutch situation and hits a little dribbler to first base. You would think he was trying to drive a ball to the outfield, hit a fly ball, because right then and there, that's what you're trying to do in that scenario as a hitter.
Yeah, I don't want to, Gilbert's a rookie. I don't want to rag on him. It's the big leagues. It happens.
Well, he's a major league hitter. I'm not ragging on him. I'm just saying he's got to come up with a clutch, try to get a clutch hit, try to get a clutch ball to drive. Those are situations where if you're a rookie, I want to be in that situation. I want to be in that box at that time to show everybody that I can hit in that situation. But he's 1 for 17. So things here are too fast for him right now. And there's no question the pitching is way too past him. He's not ready for the big league level in the box.
And I think that's okay. I think I think they rushed him a little bit bringing him up. I do, but I think Buster Posey has to look in the mirror and say it's time to bring up Bryce Eldridge. I know they want to take it slow. I know they want to let him develop, but the season at this point, we've hit the point where it's not looking like it's going to, they're not going to have some miraculous comeback like the Detroit Tigers last year. Not going to happen. And Rafi Devers is clearly struggling right now, and I know he hit the ball, on a P-Rod out the left. But right. I think if you want to see what the kid is made of, you got to bring him up. You got to let him have some at-bats and see what you actually have at the major league level. Because
it's a great idea, Isaac. It's a great idea. It's a fantastic idea. I think everybody would come and watch this kid play. He's only 20 years old, though, and I think that's why Buster Posey and management and organizations kind of hold him there in AAA. I think they want him to play the whole year there and see how he develops. I think that's the one reason. That's what I hear all the time when you hear interviews. I hear Buster Posey saying he's only 20 years old. And to me, that's telling me that he wants him to mature at AAA. He's getting a better batting average, hitting over 360, 11, 12 home runs. The batting average is up. At one time, it was at 220. Talking to, a few of the coaches and players down there, he's playing better first base. So he is getting adapted to first base. I just don't know if they're ready to bring him up, Isaac. It's a great idea, but we'll find out down the road. All right, let's go to Mike in San Francisco. Mike, you're on a Friday night sports phone with Bill Laskey. What's going on?
Hey, Bill. You sound like you're in a good mood as far as the way I'm feeling, too, about the team tonight. So, I just thought that Patrick Bailey was going to be on the front of a Topps Now card with that fiery double that brought in a few runs and a hunt down to third base.
Yeah, do you think he should have bunted, Mike? Do you think he should have laid the bunt down and bases loaded? Do you think that was an idea, just like what Isaac was saying? Do you think Mike, he would have put a bunt sign on for him?
No, I wasn't involved, as far as strategically thinking goes at that point.
I'm just asking you. If you were Bob Melvin, would you want him to bunt in that situation is what I'm asking.
The squeeze play with Fitzgerald the third, good question.
Squeeze play, you could even say just lay a bunt down. Just put a bunt down. Put a bunt down and let Fitzgerald run. Let's see if that would work. He hit a line drive. He hit it right on the nose, right to Kim at shortstop. They had him playing up the middle. If he would have hit it over to his right, it would have been a base hit. It would have been talking about Bailey getting a clutch hit. That's what magnifies a losing streak.
Considering everything he had done that evening, but no, I just didn't think that way. I was looking for him and some of the other guys to take the ball to the outfield.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That's the same thing I was thinking. Gilbert, hit a fly ball. Go up there thinking I got to hit a fly ball. That's the thought pattern I had when I was saying that to Isaac. You're a rookie coming up there. What is the scenario? What is the situation you got, Mike? You're going up to bat, bases loaded, one out. What are you thinking as a hitter if you're hitting?
Bases loaded, one out. I'm thinking the pitcher has so much pressure on him that I'm going to go with the pitch location, and I'm going to try to guess that it's going to be away.
So what are you trying to do as a hitter? Hit a fly ball, right? Hit a fly ball.
Either trying to hit a fly ball with less than 2 outs, or just put the ball in the outfield. That's what you're trying to do. Hit
a deep fly ball. Just get under a ball and hit a deep fly ball. That's the situation you're in. As a hitter, you're coming up there with that scenario in your head, and if the ball's flat enough, get a base hit. But the whole key is you got to take the situation as a hitter and understand what are my objections I got to do? What do I have to do right now? And I don't care if you're a rookie, a 10-year player, that's what you do in the on-deck circle. In the on-deck circle, you are picturing yourself in that scenario.
Oh. Well, that was the question I was going to ask you. I think we're about one night away from, getting back on track. I think they had the night to think about it. They had all day today, and they played a good game today. And
I thought so
think
too.
by tomorrow, our team could be back on track. And just wondering what your thoughts are.
I thought they
on
played
that.
a good game today. I really felt they played a very aggressive game. Even though they lost, they came down to a situation in the 8th inning, bases loaded, nobody out. They had an opportunity there to score or win the game or get ahead. They didn't. They came back in the 9th inning with Devers with a run double, another opportunity there. It just didn't work today. It just did not work for the Giants in the 8th and 9th inning, where you look at what Tampa Bay did. The base hit, the clutch base hit by Diaz wins the game for him. So one did, one didn't, and we're looking at the ones that didn't.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the call. Have a nice evening.
Always a pleasure talking to you, Mike. All right, coming up next, I'm going to sit down with Steve Kroner, talk about this game, think what he had to say about the 8th inning. So we'll take a break and come back with more right here on the Sports Leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sportsphone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
All right, back on Sportsphone KNBR on a Friday with Bill Laskey. I'll be doing double duties tomorrow. I'll be doing the KNBR warm-up show starting at 3 o'clock. Shayna Rubin, of course, she writes for the San Francisco Chronicle, covering the San Francisco Giants. I get a chance to talk to Jesus Rodriguez. He was traded over in the Camilla Duvall trade. Alex Berg's also going to join me. He is the catching coach. We'll talk a lot about catching. And then, of course, Mark Ibanez, my good friend. We'll talk Giants baseball. That's all coming up on the warm-up show. On the extra inning post-game show, I got a one-on-one with Blade Tidwell. Of course, Blade came over also in the Tyler Rogers deal. Been pitching very well in Sacramento. So I got a full slate of some great interviews tomorrow on the warm-up show as well as on the extra inning post-game show. So please join me tomorrow starting at 3 o'clock. All right, Steve Kroner's on the line. Steve, how are you on a Friday night?
Bill, I'm doing fine. How are you, young man?
Yeah, I thought the team came out after a day off and really gelled the first 3 innings, got some good hits, a home run. They had 6 runs. I just didn't think Landon Roop was sharp today, only having 1 rehab assignment. I think he might have pushed himself thinking he was going to be a lot better than what he was.
Yeah, I heard Bob Melvin's post-game news conference, and Bob was saying that the velocity for Landon went down pretty significantly after the first inning. He did have 5 strikeouts, so it wasn't as if he didn't have any of his best stuff. He just didn't have it consistently. And I think as the game progressed, what maybe was sharp in the first and second innings wasn't so sharp in the third, and then he couldn't get an out in the fourth.
Yeah, he had 59 pitches after 3 innings, and I wondered right then and there if he was going to try to push him in the fourth, and it really hurt him because he ended up walking Caminero, and then he ended up getting a base hit to Mangum, and it was first and second, and it started a whole rally for Tampa Bay right then. And, you know, Matt Gage almost got out of that. That ball that came back at him where it hit him in the leg or his knee or something, man, if he would have picked that ball, he would have got out of that inning. It didn't happen, and then the base hit to Simpson scored them both, and that's how they got back in this game. But this Tampa Bay team can hit. They put the ball in play, and, of course, I told in the beginning, 155 stolen bases. So when they get on bases, they are jackrabbits. Yeah,
Chandler Simpson, he's got some speed. There was a guy back in your era, Bill. I wasn't in the game, obviously, but we're about the same age. A guy named Vince Coleman who could wreak some havoc on the bases. I don't know that Chandler Simpson's quite the player that Vince Coleman was, but he's got some tools. He's not just a guy who's fast.
Yeah, not really a power guy. He puts the ball in play, and we saw a couple real close plays at first base from just ground balls, and that's how fast he is. He's like a Kenny Lofton, maybe, you know, somebody like that in his status, you know, how a tiny kind of a smaller guy that literally can just put a ground ball on. And I still think Jung-Hoo Lee could do this too. I really believe he could be a leadoff hitter and do exactly what they do in just slapping a ball and tearing butt down the first base line. I just don't understand why he is not leading off. Ramos, to me, needs to go down in the order, and that's my thought.
I can see how you would have that thought, Bill. I mean, I think I know Ramos perhaps in his best version was, say, what Bobby Bonds was going back, dare I say, 50 years for the Giants, when you had a guy who could combine power and speed at the top of the lineup from the right-handed batter's box. But Jung-Hoo Lee, I mean, I think, obviously, I'm not saying the guy's ever going to be as good as these two guys were, but you'd like to see him maybe take the style of hitting that Ichiro Suzuki and Tony Gwynn had. Again, I mean, those guys are all-timers. I'm not saying he's going to be that good, but those are guys who put the ball in play most of the time, and they did have enough power that, you know, if somebody threw one down the middle or, you know, in the inner half of the plate, they could turn on it and hit anywhere, say 8 to 15 homers a season, but they weren't looking to be a guy who was going to hit 20 homers a season. They were looking to be, for the most part, guys who put the ball in play, use their speed, and on the occasion when it was called for or when they could take advantage of it, then they'd be power guys. I don't think Jung-Hoo Lee, I mean, I think maybe he and maybe some fans too were seduced early in the season. I think he hit like 6 home runs in the first month. And you're thinking, well, you know, maybe this guy does have more power than we believe. But that should not be his game.
Well, you know, today I look at Ramos and Devers. 10 at bats, they got 2 hits. They punched out 7 times. 7 times. And that's your first and second hitters, and those are the guys that are supposed to be getting on base for you. The strikeouts on Devers are just mounting up. You know, that's the issue there. Fans are seeing it. Fans are watching him. And I had a caller today, and he was right. He's not missing a ball by a little. He's missing a by a lot, and that's the problem of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the Giants' key guys for this season and going forward, you know, 3 guys in the middle of the lineup, wherever you put them, somewhere or another, are Devers, Adames, and Matt Chapman. And look, each of those guys has, you know, great value at the plate at times, particularly Devers. As you've said, Bill, many times, the guy's a 277 career hitter. He's got power. He's got power to all fields. I mean, the ball he hit Monday night off of Yu Darvish, I was there just sitting in the stands as a spectator. I mean, that ball was smoked. But all 3 of those guys strike out a lot. If you look at their baseball cards, they strike out a lot, and that A can deflate rallies, and B, it can be a bad look, particularly if you're a fan. And again, those guys obviously have significant offensive value, but how many of those guys can you have in the lineup who are going to strike out a considerable amount of time? That's a tough question for the Giants, not only for this season, but you know, those guys have a lot of years left and a lot of dollar signs on their contracts. That's an issue not only for 2025, but for 26, 27, and 28, something like that.
You're so right. Steve Kroner joining me on Sportsphone KNBR. You can follow him on X, Steve Kroner, KRONERSF. One of the analytic notes that I was reading here in the last couple of days is the Giants strike out more on crossing fastballs. And they are one of the top teams that don't hit a straight fastball. That, to me, just is scratching my head because every major league hitter is supposed to hit the fastball. It's the breaking ball that's the problem. But reading that stat on analytics and reading it and seeing it, it's so true. These guys miss fastballs, Steve. And tell me your thoughts. Why?
Bill, I'm not a major league hitting coach.
I thought you were a hitting coach.
I do know. I did cover the game on Wednesday for the Associated Press, and then Bob Melvin acknowledged that. Somebody asked him about, you know, the issues with hitting, and he said, basically, we haven't hit fastballs well enough. Why they haven't hit? I mean, you can guess that guys are guessing too much. That, you know, if you're not hitting fastballs, either A, your bat's just not quick enough, or B, you're not looking for the fastball, that you're guessing off speed or you're guessing something else, or C, maybe it's a combination of both. But yeah, you would think, I mean, the tried and true axiom of baseball is hitters want to get fastballs. You know, so throw me a fastball, meat, right? But,
well, so Steve, let me ask you this, Steve. Steve, let me just ask you this question. A couple callers toward the end were saying bases loaded, Patrick Bailey's up, nobody out. And 2 callers in a row said, why didn't we try to bunt? Why didn't we try? He's one of the best bunters. Why didn't we just try to sack bunt? Why didn't we try to drag bunt? Why didn't we just try to squeeze bunt? You know, it's a great thought. And at that time, I'm saying, okay, it came across my mind. Kruk and Kite both said, you know, Koss and Bailey were the best bunters. Koss gets hit in the leg. But you think Bailey could at least hit the ball in the outfield. Had a nice double, but he hit a nice line drive right to the shortstop, Kim, but it almost turned into a double play. But what's your thoughts? Would you bunt in that scenario? I mean, you're trying to get a run. You're trying to get this team to get a lead again going into the 9th. It is a 50-50 call for me.
Yeah, to me, I'm a big believer in the bunt. I know analytics are against it, but I'm a big believer in the bunt, but not in that situation. A, it's a force play at the plate. B, don't forget, Uchetta had just hit 2 of the previous 3 hitters.
Right.
You don't.
Right.
You don't. A lot of times, if you're trying to bunt, if it's not a safety squeeze, if it's a suicide squeeze, you got to try to bunt at anything. And he hasn't shown the ability to throw strikes to 2 of the previous 3 hitters. I don't think that was the time to try to bunt. Mm-hmm. And Patrick Bailey, give him credit, he hit the ball on a line. He did his job. Is the old saying, you can hit it, you can't guide it, and it just happened to be right at the shortstop. You'd like to see better at bats after that in the inning, but I don't think that's the time to be bunting. I just don't.
This Casey Schmidt getting hit in the arm, man. He went down. When you're coming out of the game, and you've covered many games, Steve, when you're coming out of the game, either that arm is just throbbing so much you can't even feel your fingertips, and that's happened before. And you saw him go right into the dugout. He went right down the steps. He was gone. I just don't know what kind of injury that's going to be. And another guy goes on the IL. That means Cost plays third. Maybe Fitzgerald goes back to second. Maybe Brett Wisely comes back up. And then now you're starting to look at the walking wounded. Matt Chapman goes on the IL. Roop just comes off the IL. Now all these things are starting to mount up if Casey Schmidt happens to go on the IL. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I did hear Bob Melvin again in his news conference on NBC Sports Bay Area. He did say that X-rays were negative, but that no surprise that Casey Schmidt was hurting pretty badly. Mm-hmm. Bob indicated he thought Casey would be out for a couple of days, but it didn't sound, at least in the short term, that it was going to need an IL stint. It sounded, Bob said he's probably going to miss the next couple of days, but he sounded, maybe I'm reading a little bit more into this than what he said, but I'm pretty sure he was basically saying it does not look like an IL stint right now. Now, again, too, you get him, Casey could get to the ballpark tomorrow and his arm just be throbbing, and they might say, what, we can't afford to wait to figure out if he's going to be available in 6 or 7 days. Then maybe you reassess. But at this point, it does look like the Giants and Casey Schmidt might have avoided an IL stint, at least in the short term.
Steve, as we finish up here, boy, it's just tough winning at home. I never thought this team would lose so many games at Oracle Park. They were over 10, 12 games over 500 with this team, and they just cannot get a win. And tomorrow we're facing it again. Can they close out and get a win? It's going to be a question mark. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's historically bad, this stretch. As you mentioned, 1901 for any Giants team. And I don't remember, Bill, you weren't pitching back in those days, were you? I remember covering
I was going to bring that up to you. I was going to ask you if you were covering the team back then, but I was being nice to you. I was going to be nice. Now you're firing back at me on it. Okay.
No. But 1901 to have a Giants team lose 14 of 15 home games, obviously it's historically bad. And, the great thing about baseball is that tomorrow's another day. But the problem is, even tonight, the problem is, you fall behind 2-0, say in the second inning, and you start thinking, well, here we go again. But tonight was the reverse of that. The Giants got a lead in the first.
They had the lead.
They got tied in the top of the second. They took a lead in the second. They got tied in the top of the third. They took a lead in the bottom of the third, and then got tied in the fourth. These things they're tough to stop. Can the Giants do it tomorrow night?
We're going to find out tomorrow, Steve. That's about all we can do. Find out tomorrow, turn the page, and hopefully Justin Verlander put some zeros on the board. But thanks for your time tonight, Steve. It's always a pleasure catching up with you on Friday. So we're going to close the show right now on Sportsphone KNBR. Giants lose a tough one, 7-6. They're going to be right back at it tomorrow at 6:05. Justin Verlander against Adrian Hauser. I'll be doing the warm-up show at 3 o'clock. Join me on Extra Innings post-game show after. Hopefully we'll be talking about a win tomorrow. Let's see if the Giants can pull one out. I want to thank my producer, Cole Lepelt, for picking up the calls, and you Giants fans for calling in. I'm Bill Laskey. Be safe, be well. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader.
Bye.